EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions, your on-the-go professional development. Welcome to the very first episode of the EduVerse PD podcast. In today's episode, our two AI co-hosts, Andy and Liz, will explore the fascinating topic of NextGen Learners. They'll take a deep dive into an insightful article from EduVerse Newsletter 15 titled Adapting Education for NextGen Learners, Strategies and Innovations, written by Dr. Nguyen and Dr. Dinh Bao Quoc. So let's jump right in with Andy and Liz on how we can better prepare today's students for tomorrow's challenges.
Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving into the future of education today, a topic that I think is just so fascinating. Have you heard the term NextGen Learners?
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just kids being good with tech. We're talking about a generation whose brains are literally wired differently because of how they grew up, immersed in this digital world.
Yeah, and it really makes you think about the term digital natives, right? Like that came out back in 2001.
Wow.
And it's evolved so much since then. NextGen learners, they're just constantly connected. They live and breathe the digital world. And it changes not just what they learn, but how they learn best.
It really makes you wonder how education can keep up.
It's a challenge, for sure. Definitely ahead of the curve. This isn't just about what's happening in classrooms right now. The insights from this article, written by Dr. Nguyen and Dr. Dinh Bao Quoc, they can really change how anyone thinks about learning.
And talk about real-world experience. Dr. Nguyen co-founded an AI education company, and Dr. Quoc, with over 20 years in education, founded ProEd Education Solutions. So they're not just theorizing here. Fulbright scholar, EdTech CEO.
Top voice in educational leadership, even. Yeah, they've really got the experience.
So in this deep dive, we're on a mission to uncover who these NextGen learners are, what makes them tick, and how education has to adapt to meet their needs.
Think of it as a journey. We're going to unravel the mystery of what makes these learners so unique, and then we'll explore the exciting world of educational innovations that are designed just for them.
Well,
and of course, we're going to acknowledge the challenges, right?
Right.
The uncharted territories that we're still navigating.
I love that analogy. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Who are these NextGen learners, and what sets them apart?
So to adapt to education, we have to understand, what makes them tick. One key difference is really their relationship with technology. Like you said, it's not just that they're good with tech, it's that technology has fundamentally changed how their brains work, how they process information.
They're digital natives in the truest sense of the word.
Absolutely.
What else makes them so unique?
So one of the big things is this real strong preference for personalized learning.
Okay.
The old one-size-fits-all approach, it just doesn't work. They crave learning that's tailored to their needs, their interests, and their pace.
That makes sense, right? It's like finally ditching those mass-produced textbooks in favor of something that is actually going to resonate with you.
Yeah.
So how is education adapting to this need for personalization?
So this is where technology, specifically AI, is playing a huge role. Imagine a platform that adapts to a student's learning in real time.
Wow.
It can adjust the content, the pace, even the type of instruction based on their individual progress.
It's like having a personal AI tutor.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It's really cool stuff.
But it's not just about personalized learning, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Another big one is their emphasis on collaboration and social learning.
Okay.
They thrive in environments where they can learn from each other, work together on projects, and connect with peers around the world.
Think global group projects.
Exactly.
Learning from each other through platforms like, even Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah. They're turning these platforms into educational tools, which is really interesting to see.
It's very entrepreneurial.
It is. It's a huge shift from that traditional individualistic approach to learning. And here's something I find so remarkable about this generation. It's their awareness of global issues like the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs.
They really are. And it's amazing to see. They're growing up with climate change, social justice movements, global interconnectedness, all of it.
Yeah.
It's like their backdrop. So it's no wonder that they're so passionate about making a difference.
Absolutely.
But how does this global awareness tie into their learning?
It shapes their worldview. It motivates them to find solutions to real-world problems. I mean, they're not just learning about history, they're thinking about how to shape the future.
Right.
And this focus on well-being, I mean, we see that a lot with this generation. It actually aligns with a lot of studies that show the link between mental health and academic success.
Of course.
So it's all connected.
It is. Okay, so we have these digital natives who thrive on personalized and collaborative learning, and they are so passionate about global issues. It begs the question, how do we, as educators, as a society, create learning experiences that actually resonate with them?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. Let's delve into some of these educational innovations that are being designed specifically for these next-gen learners. You know, we were talking earlier about next-gen learners being these digital natives.
Right.
And that's really where this whole idea of technology integration comes in. It's key. And I mean, we're not just talking about, swapping out chalkboards for interactive whiteboards.
Yeah.
Think about learning management system.
Okay, LMS.
LMS, got it. Which can really streamline, assignments, feedback, communication, all in one digital space.
It's like taking all the best parts of the digital world and bringing them into the classroom in a way that makes sense for how these students learn.
Exactly. And, it's interesting because this isn't even a new concept.
Right.
Our experts actually cite this 2012 study by West that really emphasized the importance of, integrating technology and education.
Yeah.
But what's exciting is how far we've come since then.
Right.
We're talking about a whole new level of sophistication, personalization.
Okay.
Especially with AI,
Which brings us back to Dr. Nguyen's work with AI-powered personalized learning paths.
Yes.
It's like we're finally moving away from this one-size-fits-all approach to education.
Exactly. And personalized learning with AI allows us to tailor that educational experience.
Right to each student's needs.
Okay.
Imagine a platform that can actually pinpoint when a student is struggling.
Wow.
With a concept and automatically adjust the difficulty or provide additional support.
So it's like a personal tutor powered by AI.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It's really cool stuff.
And it's not just limited to individual learning, right? Because we talked about how much next-gen learners value collaboration. So how does that factor into these innovations?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it means we need to think beyond just the traditional classroom walls.
Right.
And create these opportunities for collaboration that feel natural.
Okay.
Engaging to this generation. And that's where, bringing in online communities, social learning platforms can be really effective.
It's interesting because these platforms are already such a big part of their lives.
So it's really just meeting them where they are.
Absolutely. And it taps into their, their desire to connect, to learn from each other.
Right. It's like built in.
It is. And, speaking of connecting, it's just so inspiring how passionate these learners are about tackling real world problems.
It really is.
They're not just learning about the issues. They want to be part of the solution.
Yeah, they want to do something about it.
Yes, exactly. And that's where something like experiential learning comes in.
Okay.
We're talking hands-on project-based learning that lets them actually apply their knowledge to these real issues.
So it's not just hypothetical scenarios.
No, not at all.
This is like digging into the real challenges.
Exactly. Think about, projects focused on climate change, social justice, even just, designing solutions for their local communities. And the research backs this up,
Okay.
There's a 2008 study by Barron and Darling-Hammond.
Okay.
They found that project-based learning led to greater engagement from students and better learning outcomes.
Well, yeah, because it's learning by doing.
Exactly.
And it clearly works.
Right.
But it's not all about, just academic skills, right? These next-gen learners are going to need a very particular set of skills to navigate the future.
You're hitting on a really important point because in a world that's changing so rapidly, we need to equip them with more than just facts and figures.
Of course.
They need resilience, adaptability, a growth mindset.
Right.
All of that to thrive in the face of uncertainty.
That makes a lot of sense. So how can education help them develop those essential skills?
I think it starts with shifting our focus.
Right. From just, rewarding the right answer to encouraging experimentation, embracing failure as a learning opportunity, and really fostering their emotional intelligence.
It's about giving them the tools to navigate not just the academic world, but the real world too.
Exactly.
It personalizes the pace, the content, keeps them engaged, and it goes beyond just that individual level, right? We're seeing amazing things with project-based learning where these students tackle real-world problems.
Yeah, we touched on that. I think it deserves a closer look. What makes those projects so effective for these next-gen learners?
Well, it taps into their drive to make a difference, right? Lets them apply what they're learning to actual challenges. Imagine a group of students, they're designing a community garden to address food insecurity or developing an app to promote like sustainable living. It's not just theory, it's real impact.
It's a real-world application.
Yeah, that's right.
What other innovations are out there?
Okay, get this: gamification and virtual reality in education.
Wow. Learning through VR. That sounds really engaging.
It is. Stepping into a VR simulation of ancient Rome or exploring the human body from the inside out, it's immersive, it's exciting.
It's like turning education into a video game, but with real learning goals.
Precisely. And studies show that gamification, even in simpler forms, can really boost engagement and motivation. But it's not all high tech. Our experts also highlight soft skills, emotional intelligence, all that.
That makes sense, especially in a tech-driven world. You need those human skills.
You do. Communication, collaboration, empathy, problem solving, these are essential, right?
Yep.
And last but not least, competency-based education, or CBE.
I've heard that term, but to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what it means. Break it down for me.
So instead of moving through the material based on like seat time or a set curriculum, CBE lets students progress by demonstrating what they know, their mastery of specific skills.
So it's less about grades, more about actual understanding. I can see how that would be motivating.
Exactly.
But with all these amazing innovations, there must be challenges too, right? It can't all be easy.
You're right. There are always hurdles, especially with something this big. A major one is equity of access. Not every student has the same access to tech, high-speed internet, which creates a digital divide.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
We can have the best intentions, amazing innovations, but it has to be accessible to everyone. What about the educators? All this requires a whole new skill set.
Exactly. Teacher training and support is crucial. We can't just expect educators to embrace all this without proper training, right? They need the professional development, the resources to implement these innovations effectively.
And we can't forget about the potential downsides of technology, like screen time, the ethics of AI, all of that.
Absolutely. Finding that balance, encouraging offline activities, a healthy relationship with technology, and with AI, teaching these students to use these tools responsibly, critically.
So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway for our listeners who are thinking, okay, how does this apply to me, to my kids?
The future of learning. It's full of possibilities. We have the tools, the knowledge to create these amazing learning experiences for next-gen learners. But it takes commitment, adaptation, a focus on equity and ethics.
It's not just about the tech, it's how we use it.
Exactly.
And speaking of using things well, our experts left us with a great question. They talked about teaching next-gen learners to think critically about AI. But how do we do that? How do we make sure we're consuming information, especially online, with that critical eye?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves as technology becomes more and more intertwined with our lives. It's a journey of learning, questioning, adapting, right?
It really is. And on that note, a challenge to keep learning, keep questioning, keep exploring this ever-evolving world of education. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into next-gen learners, everyone.
Until next time, keep those minds open and those learning journeys exciting.
Thank you, Andy and Liz, for that engaging discussion on next-gen learners. If you'd like to explore the entire article, head over to our website and download EduVerse Newsletter, Issue 15. It's packed with insightful articles, including the full piece on adapting education for next-gen learners. Just visit www.proed.com.vn/eduverse. And don't forget, EduVerse Newsletters is always looking for fresh contributions. If you have expertise, ideas, or best practices to share, we encourage you to submit your article. Your insights could reach a global audience and spark meaningful change in education. Well, we hope you enjoy our episode today, and we can't wait to welcome you again in our next episode on EduVerse PD Podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions.